Do you think that Ravens team, that 2000 Super Bowl team, was the best defense?
In one given year, absolutely. We knew if you gave us 10 points, you weren't going to beat us.
My next guest on Soup with Coop has one of the most decorated football resumes there is. A 2-time All-American at Purdue, an 11-time Pro Bowler, a 6-time All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl champion, and Hall of Famer in college and in pro, Rod Woodson. Welcome to Soup with Coop, Rod.
Cooper, I appreciate you having me on. I'm hungry right now too, so that's a good thing I could eat some soup.
Listen, what are you having today, my friend?
Cream of mushroom.
Really? Are you a mushroom guy?
I am. So my daughter's a chef, but even before that, it's just something about the cream of mushroom. I just started enjoying it. So it kind of grew in the family. And now when we want to be lazy and not cook, and we'll have a bowl of soup, which is cream of mushroom, and we're going to have some grilled cheese. And that's one of the lazy days for our family.
That was probably a good hearty meal back in Pittsburgh on those cold afternoons. I mean, you're a Midwestern guy. It doesn't get much warmer in West Lafayette either.
Listen, in Indiana, Pittsburgh a little bit colder, a little bit cooler, just because of the Three Rivers and the Monongahela and Allegheny and all that junk in Ohio. But it does, the Midwest is the Midwest, and in those cold nights, you got to warm yourself up somehow, some way. Sometimes you do a little broth, but, as I did with broth when I was younger, because it was a lot cheaper. And then I made my way to the cream of mushroom as I got older.
Rob, let me see what you got. Can you point it? I want to see. Can you have it in front of you right there?
Right here, a little cream of mushroom.
Yeah, have a bite. Don't be bashful. Just dig right in.
Yeah, because I am hungry.
Were you the fastest guy in the NFL for a couple of years, do you think? Or do you you were always in the conversation. I mean, did you know you could beat Darryl Green or whoever was running hot those days?
Yeah, I mean, Darryl and I did run in the NFL fastest man after my rookie season. But Darryl's 5'8" and $150. I mean, so he is quicker and faster a little bit, but top end speed, trying to run all the way down the field, got to run through somebody. I would give myself the benefit of the doubt, but there's a lot of fast guys in the league. You see, I ran track my whole life, Coop. I ran the 110 hurdles though. So I was a hurdler. And that was a love of mine, but my favorite sport was football. So I was a track guy that played football. And when you find those guys, we have a lot of fun on the field because we talk a lot of noise to each other when we talk about our speed. I remember having a conversation with me and Darryl Green and Dion. We did at the round table mid last year. And it was pretty fun to hear us compete and say how fast we were against the guy and that we would have beat you. And Darryl, Dion and I never raced. So Darryl still has it on me that he beat me in the NFL's fastest man. But I say all the time, I asked everybody to go back and watch the tape. He cheated.
He did.
He had a rolling start. He cheated.
And you think at 56 right now, anybody intimidate you? You think you can't run anymore?
No, I'm not even trying to run anymore. I walk briskly in the morning. So all those workouts my wife used to do, and I used to make fun of her. Yeah. That's what I'm doing nowadays.
That's what you're doing? Yeah, I can relate.
Do you have ambitious hiring goals for the last quarter of 2022? With a powerful hiring partner, big goals are no big deal. You need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. Indeed makes hiring all in one place so easy because it takes 10 minutes or less for most small business employers to post a job according to Indeed Data US. Indeed also has a jaw-dropping pool of talent. In fact, 3 out of 4 US online job seekers search for jobs on Indeed each month, according to to ComScore. Join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to sponsor your job post at Indeed.com/soup. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/soup. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
You've said publicly before that sometimes you thought Hall of Fame status could work against someone getting a coaching job or being involved in the NFL. I was curious if you could elaborate on that.
Well, this is what I believe. I think coaches can be intimidated by ex-players. You don't get too many Hall of Famers that want to coach in the first place. And that doesn't even mean they're going to be great coaches.
Right.
But I think when you do find, and I believe that I was blessed to go to Pittsburgh when I went to Pittsburgh, and I was under Tony Dungy for a couple of years, and Tony left, and the guy named Rod Russ came in. A lot of people don't know who Rod Russ' name is, but he was a defensive guru in his time frame. He was the coach that flipped my switch mentally. And Chuck Noll used to always tell us, hey, this game is played 2-to-1 mental to physical, because everybody's talented. Everybody, you might be faster, he might be quicker, he might be bigger, he might be stronger, but everybody has some type of talent. It's the players who can take that talent and to really think about it, 2-to-1 mental to physical. Those guys separate themselves from the average to the great players. And he was the coach to cuss me out in the walkthrough, challenged me to become and understand the game a little bit better. I sat with him for like 5 weeks in the off-season, Coop, and he was just kind of inundating me with information, asking me a lot of questions. And about week 5, that green light clicked on. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. This is all they do. This is all the offense is doing to the defense, disguising the different things that they're doing by personnel groupings and formations and moving different people around. But once they finish the formation, they run a certain number of plays out of that. He was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And so he was the guy to help me do that. And then after that, I got Dick Lebeau, Dom Capers, and Bill Cowher for 5 more years. And Dick Lebeau is the coolest guy that you would ever want to meet.
I mean, a Hall of Famer player and a coach. I mean,
yes.
There's nothing he hadn't seen and seen a lot.
Yeah. The thing what I love about Dick, he used to give us stories. And he used to talk about, like, when he first came in the league, he was like, yeah, when I first came in the league, I was playing corner and we could cut the receiver. I was like, what? Cut the receiver at the line of scrimmage? I would love to do that right now. Like, that would be awesome. But then he also told us their hardships that, every NFL team didn't have a lot of money. So on Friday, everybody was rushing to get out of the building because they had to be the first guy cashing their checks because the check might bounce. So I mean, he told us some really good stories. But the best thing that Dick Lebeau ever did, and I wish it was taped, but no, he would never let anybody tape it. Then on Christmas Eve, every Christmas Eve, he would recite the night before Christmas. And the first year, so it was 92, I think it was, the first year that Bill got there, and they were all up, and Dick gets up, and he's like, yeah, then he starts reciting. I'm like, we're sitting in the back, we're like, there is no way this dude's going to recite the whole book word for word. Ain't no way. I mean, I love Dick Lebeau. He's my coach. I love him because he's our DB coach, but ain't no way he's going to recite the whole book. Sure enough, he recited the whole book verbatim with sound effects, with the shutters and all that stuff. Man, when he got done, I can't remember who we played on that Sunday, but we kicked their butts. And we kicked their butts every time we had to play on that Christmas. So it was awesome. So if you can ever get Dick Lebeau on your podcast, get him to recite the night before Christmas so it can be recorded.
I think we'll do it in Christmas time. That'd be time. We'll time it up right.
Starting your own business can be a total roller coaster. Between all the bumpy twists and turns comes the actual business side of your business, which can really throw you for a loop. Luckily, with QuickBooks, you can manage your business with confidence from the start. So no matter how bumpy the ride gets, you can always stay on track. New business, no problem. Success starts with Intuit QuickBooks. Learn more at QuickBooks.com. All right, people, we're brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the greatest sports betting app of all time. See, it's not just about the daily promos, odd boosts, or the hundreds of ways to wager. It's about the immortal words of Caesar himself, you bet, you get with Caesars Rewards. Every bet you place on the app, no matter the outcome, earns towards exclusive perks at Caesars Rewards destinations everywhere. Hotel stays, concert tickets, bonuses, and more. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app, become a Caesars Rewards member today, and get more with every wager. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-522-4700.
And then for you, being a sneaky corner with a lot of picks, and then just being so physically fit and being fast still to adjust to play to safety, what was that like?
Well, Coop, honestly, I played safety my whole life. So little league from 9 years old, when I first started playing PAL football, I played safety. I played safety from all the way through there, all the way through high school, all the way through Purdue. My last year, I played a little bit of everything. I played a little running back, a little receiver, a little corner, a little safety. And then I ran my 40 at the combine. They're like, oh, you're going to play corner. And I'm like, no, I can't. I'm like, I don't know how to play corner. I don't play corner. It's like, it's weird out there for me. Yeah. So my first couple of years, it took me, I would say 2.5 years to really be comfortable out there at the corner position because it was odd. Safety, I'm up here. I can see everything. I see all 22. I can see the whole field. But at corner, on the side view, I played just like I did at safety. I had my eyes in the backfield. I was getting beat, double moves, Drew Hill. that's when, the run and shoot was like, They were just tearing us up. Cincinnati, Boomer and those guys, and Eddie Brown and all those guys, they was tearing us up. Kozar in Cleveland, they was eating us alive. So we learned under that combat. Then once I got comfortable, then I started realizing, okay, I need to show one thing to another. If you always show one and always do one thing when you show that, that's what a quarterback knows it, a receiver knows it. So I would show multiple looks and do multiple things out of it. And what I really was blessed with Tony Dungy allowed me to do certain things. Rod Russ allowed me to do certain things. And so did Dick Lebeau. Dick would say, hey, I would be in cover 2. I would be 8 yards off in cover 2. And they'd be like, most coaches would be like, no, you need to get down 3 yards, get your hands on him, reroute him inside. Most coaches would do that, but they're like, no, let him play. And then I can backpedal 3 steps, stop, see if he's going to run a hitch. If he runs a hitch, pick 6. If he runs a slant, it's going to be a collision. So learning to do different things out there. It took me a couple years. And then once I moved to safety year 12, it was like a comfort zone. I was like, oh man, I don't have to work. It's work. Yes. More so physically, because I remember my first preseason game we played, I think our game was against Atlanta and Jamal Anderson. So Jamal comes through, I think it's like the right-hand side. It must have been like a 25 or something, like stretch play. And he hits me and we hit, my helmet goes down. I get up, I look at Ray Lewis, I'm bleeding. I can feel the blood coming down my face. And I look at Ray and I said, whew, man, I don't know about this safety stuff, man. But I got to play 5 more years at safety. And, we got to win a Super Bowl when I was playing at that position.
Do you think that Ravens team, that 2000 Super Bowl team, was the best defense? It's definitely the best defense you've ever played on, but you think it's the best defense ever? It's worth the conversation.
I can say in one given year, absolutely. Most of the great defenses we talk about throughout the history of the sport is they've done it multiple years, right? So you talk about the Steel Curtain, the Purple People Eaters, Orange Crush. all those great defenses you talk about, they did it year after year after year for probably a 3-year period, right? But that one year in Baltimore, Marvin Lewis had some great game plans. He trusted us to do certain things. He allowed us to change positions. We'll change position with linebackers change position. We'll change position with corners because we're all X's. I mean, outside of the Mike backer and the nose tackle, everybody else, the other 9 players are X's anyway. So he allowed us to do different things and have fun with it. And you couldn't move Tony Saragusa and Sam Adams. You couldn't move those guys inside. Our linebackers all could run. And our secondaries, about the year that we had that great year, that's when we had a young Chris McAllister, Dwayne Starks. I moved to safety that year. And then we had Corey Harris and we had Kim Herring. Those guys kind of alternated at the other safety position. But we knew if you gave us 10 points, you weren't going to beat us.
Well, yeah, y'all didn't. No one was, I guess, the offense was so. The defense did all the.
You're being polite with our offense. Our offense sucked.
Well,
they sucked. Listen, when your offense doesn't score a touchdown for 5 straight games, that's not so. That's you're not that good.
And Stokely always talks about he was instant offense on that Super Bowl, so it works out fine.
He was. You know what's so funny? Because that year, the New York Giants beat the Minnesota Vikings. In Minnesota, they had a squad. I mean, they had everybody on that offense. And we were like, man, is there one team that we don't want to play? It would be Minnesota, because that's a matchup that's a good matchup for us offensively, defensively to their offense. And then when we saw that the Giants beat them, we're like, what the heck happened? And this is no lie. Honest to God, Coop. Ray and I think it was a couple other players, we sat down on Monday to watch that game. And we watched a recap of how they played. And we're like, they're not going to beat us.
Yeah.
If they get past the 50, we quit. And I am not lying. That's exactly what we said to each other in that meeting room. And I think they got across 50 once against us in the game. So, I mean, we believed in who we were. They just had a perfect game against Minnesota.
It can happen. It can happen. We see it all the time. Yeah. That's why you play them. Upsets happen, and that's the fun of it. And that's why you can dial up that perfect game and have a few little breaks here and there.
It's the best time of year. Football season is in full swing. Basketball and hockey have returned, and nothing beats seeing your favorite team live. Make up for lost time and go enjoy a game. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN, is offering you $10 off your first $100 ticket purchase with code SOUP. That's code SOUP. Download the app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats, life happens live.
As one of the greatest defensive backs of all time, when you watch the NFL now, who are the DBs you like to tune in and see?
Oh man, I like, obviously, Jalen Ramsey. When I was coaching, he came out. I thought he was a great athlete. What I loved what they did last year with him was they put him at nickel. Finally, this is his first year ever playing nickel. Last year was his first time even going inside. Outside
Why do you like that? Why do you like that? What?
Because it shows his versatility. He's a big, tall, lanky, twitchy corner that can play inside, but they always want the nickel corner, or whatever you want to call him, the nickel guy, to be small. I play nickel. I'm 6'1". I was 205-ish, 210-ish, and I was our nickel back. Our dime was Carnell Lake, who was 6'2". He was like 225.
He was a hammer. He could bring it. Carnell could bring it.
He's one of the most underrated players that I've ever played with, that people don't talk about, but how versatile he was. But Jalen, obviously, I think White in Buffalo. Let's talk about the corners first. I didn't think White was going to be that good, to be honest, but he is a player, man. He's a player. Humphreys with Baltimore. I didn't think Humphreys was going to be that good. You know, I knew he played well in college. I knew he had some skill sets, but I didn't know he was going to be a playmaker the way he became with Baltimore. A couple safeties. Minka, I think Minka, man, he's a player. He's a playmaker. You know, I like him. I like Honey Badger. I know Honey Badger doesn't like his name being said that way anymore.
Great nickname. I don't know why Honey Badger doesn't like that. That's one of the great nicknames of all time. It's hard to get a good nickname.
Gosh, I'm trying to think of the little safety that played at Arizona, came from Washington. Buda Baker.
Oh yeah.
Buda Baker. I love when I remember watching him when he came out. I thought he was a corner. And I kept saying, who was that guy moving like that? Like I was watching film and I'm like, that guy can move. And they're like, oh, he's a safety. I'm like, he's a safety? Moving like that? He moves like a corner. And sure enough, man, the guy's just a little playmaker. He's all over the field. I've never seen anybody play with that much energy because he's everywhere. He's like, I mean, it seems like it's like 20 of them on the field. So, I mean, those are some of the guys that I love to watch. But obviously, you know, the game has changed. They can't touch the guys the way they touched them. I mean, I don't know how I'd have played. You know, because I was a physical. I try to, you know, physicality used to be a nice trait to have, and it still is. What I tell players all the time: don't let the flags detour how you play. Just keep playing through it. Keep playing through it. Keep playing through it. Don't hit in the head. That's the biggest thing. But everything else, just keep playing. And if they do that, that's when you find the great players that can just consistently go out there and make plays week in and week out.
As always, we finish up with a little bite of cold soup and grade it from 1 to 1,000.
Here you go.
How'd you do today?
How'd I do?
Yeah, you grade it. 1,000's the best. 1's the worst. How was it?
Me personally, how'd I do?
No, not your performance. The soup. Just the soup. Actually, grade my performance. I want the soup, then my performance. What do you think I get? What do you give me? 1 out of 1,000.
Soup is 1,000. I mean, this is my soup. This is what I like. Soup is 1,000. I think your performance, I think you are at 9.99.
I was hoping for a 9. I'll take 9.99 every day.
I mean, nobody's perfect, right? So nobody's perfect. We're not perfect, but
well, you were a perfect guest.
You would have been perfect if we didn't have the people running back around behind you naked.
You know, we're kind of a wide open family over here. We're doing a nude vaccination out on the front porch, you know.
I saw the one person come with some shorts. I'm like, well, he may be going swimming. Then he came back.
I think they're going to football practice, hopefully. He's putting on weight left and right. He's eating more than soup. So you and I look good. He's putting on the pounds. Rod, it's been an absolute it's been a pleasure getting to visit with you today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Man, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Coop.
You bet.